13th of April 2024 at 10:33 a.m. in Berlin, Germany. Welcome once again to our cosmic journey, casting our chart in the startup universe. Designer Jake with Engineer Trey, here as always on this beautiful Saturday. Hello, Trey. Ooh.
Hi, Jake.
My voice cracked. Happy full eclipse week. We didn't get to see it here in Europe, but our friends...
We got to feel it.
We got to feel it. We got to feel the effects of it. Although I don't feel like nothing really kind of, I don't know, detrimental or negative necessarily happened in a way that I don't know. I didn't feel any... I don't think I felt any effects of it. How did the eclipse feel for you this week? This is not our check-in question, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I feel like there was most of the sort of tumultuous things that might be normally ascribed to eclipse time happened just prior to the eclipse rather than the eclipse itself. So, yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
whatever.
Who can say? Anyways, good to see you on this Saturday. We have a couple things that we would like to talk about, which requires me to go here. So the cycle this week is called Right Here, Right Now. We're not going to play the song. No copyright strikes are needed. It is cycle 30. So after the cycle...
Oh my gosh. I was like, what song are you talking about? That was like...
Don't even
who
sing
is
it.
that? It's not, but who sings it? It's not like
know.
the Soup Dragons or something. It's something...
The Soup Dragons? No. Wait. Okay, now...
That's not right. That's not right. But it's something...
Okay, hold on.
I used to love that band.
Let's go.
And I feel like that might be an embarrassing thing to admit at this point.
Okay. By the way, Perplexity says understood. Understood. Here's my response. Okay.
What a read. What a read.
Like right here, right now. Like understood. Okay. In this moment, you and I are present together, occupying the same space and time. The here and now is all we have. It is the only reality we can truly experience. What is AI trying to do to me? It wants me to embrace the present moment. It wants me to live authentically.
Hey, this is all really good advice. I feel like we're putting the end of the episode up front.
Yeah.
Hey,
sorry.
be present in the moment.
I should be more clear with you. I was asking about the song. I see. Sorry. I went into... Fat Boy Slim. No.
No.
Maybe. Okay, wait. Okay, this is important. Like, no. What's the song that has the lyric right here, right now?
I got it.
From
Do you want it?
The 80s. I mean, maybe because.
Do you want to guess what it is? Because as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, of course.
I need a clue. I think I need a clue.
It's a name that alliterates, and it's 2 words.
Boys Noise. No, they're modern, and that doesn't alliterate. That rhymes. I need... What's the first letter? This is very interesting for the viewer.
It's the same first letter for both. J.
What? J. Journey. Jerky.
Jerky is
Jerky
such a
Jerky.
great name.
I mean,
it's just for like actual like snacks that you would pick up at the gas
Jerky
station
Journey.
on the way.
Jerky Journey. Sometimes when we're in the
Journey.
United States and we're going on a road trip, we stop at the Busy Bee and we take a jerky journey.
So good.
By the way,
where's that? Is that Tennessee?
No, that was in Florida. That was in the Osceola National Forest in Florida. Let me go to Jake Solo on this one with name. This is important. Dear viewer, if you are in the southeastern United States and you're doing a road trip, there's many places that you can stop that are very deluxe. I would highly suggest stopping at the Busy Bee because the Busy Bee has a cornucopia of jerky. One might say a jerky journey that you could go on. The star in the hit song Right Here, Right Now by Jerky Journey. Or... Sorry, what? By the way, I just laughed and it red peaked hard.
The levels are going to be great.
The levels are going to be great this one. What is the band name?
Jesus Jones.
Jesus Jones. Right here, right. It's one of the first.
You said you were going to sing it.
Sorry.
You admonished me.
I did admonish
I
you.
didn't even sing it.
Fun fact about Jesus Jones, by the way. I must have been probably, I'm gonna guess like 12 or 13 when that song came out,
Oh
and
God.
I remember my sister and her friends were watching that on MTV, and I thought it was a stupid, terrible song. And it was the first time that I think I made my sister laugh from, I wouldn't even call it a pun. It was just like me making like a wordplay joke. I just said, Jesus Jones, did you fart? And then they started laughing. So that's
This
my,
is why you have good taste, because
this,
you thought that the song was terrible.
the
I
song
was
was
like
terrible.
this because I was like whatever 18, and I was like, this song is so meaningful. Oh my God, it's just all about what I'm experiencing right now as I like dropped acid.
Why? The viewer is learning a lot about us today.
It's
Yes,
it's a slow unroll
when
of the
Trey,
history.
so I think that we had two different life journeys. Let me go back to this one. We had two different life journeys. Trey was dropping acid, and I was making fart jokes. That's really where our paths diverged.
Yeah, yeah, and nobody who knows us is surprised by this.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So the cycle is called Right Here, Right Now. And the reason we're going to call it that is because there is a dev demo today that's the Here and Now ring. We're going to talk a little bit about philosophy around loyalty and kickback programs. So I'm going to bring up a couple things. Part of that, those are my usually internal notes that you're not supposed to see, but that's fine. You're seeing them. And we're going to do a little bit of thank you. But before we go into that, we go to Mr. Trey Henry for the checking question.
Oh, right. Yes, the checking question. I got so wrapped up in the here and now. Uh, so, you are the
Beautiful.
victim of.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you are beautiful.
Thank you.
You are the victim of too much beauty. No, you are the victim of a freak accident involving nuclear waste and genetic experimentation, and it has produced a third highly specialized limb. It has to be highly specialized.
I cannot. You understand that there is a very easy, very cheap, and stupid joke here.
Oh, well, okay. Well, fine. Don't go for the stupid.
I won't.
Stupid
I
cheap
won't.
joke.
I'm surprised that you didn't even realize that, honestly. Okay, so we're not going to go over the stupid, easy joke.
Yeah.
Boy, look, there's laundry here today. Like, we haven't even tried this episode.
We are a slop fest today. It's a mess. We are jerky journeying all over the place.
Okay, so there's a third specialized limb, of which I had two before, and now I have to have third.
Yeah. The rest of you is completely intact as it is today, but now you just have this third that is not vestigial, is actually highly specialized. What is the weird specialized thing that your extra limb does?
You know what I would go for? I would go for a third ear. I think it would be aesthetically problematic, but I think a third ear would be the best for me. If I could make it aesthetically work, I would definitely go for it. And the reason why is because I feel like it's not that my hearing is bad, but I think there is just like, I have a hard time hearing people. And I think part of that is physiological and part of that is psychological. And I think if I had a third ear, at least, we could get over some of the physiological and maybe psychological hurdles of actually hearing other people. And so I'm going to go for the third ear. Again, it's probably going to be put in a place that is not aesthetic, that I'm not very excited about. By the way, dear viewer, let's go back to this for a second. I was accidentally on Tim Heidecker's show, Office Hours Live, and Tim Heidecker said, "Look at this effing handsome guy," and so that made me feel good.
Yeah, it was really sweet. Actually,
I'm gonna cut to the episode right up there. Actually, you'll see a clip of it where Tim Heidecker calls me an effing handsome guy, which I really appreciate. And so I feel like my third ear is not gonna really work out for me. But
see, that's funny because I thought you were going to say third ear on the back of your head so you could hear people behind you talking shit.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. And I think the third ear in the back of the head at least could, with some normal hair growth, actually look okay. So I think that's,
but then you'd have hat wear would become a little bit problematic because you would have to like account for
specialized hats. It depends where the ear sits. Yeah, I don't know. But no, non-vestigial third ear. What about you?
I think for me it would be a tail, but not a but it doesn't do like balance things or provide any like physical functionality. It does the same thing that Doxtail does, which is clearly indicate his mood. So much like a cattail, like if I was just there, standing there, and I wasn't giving any other like indications or speaking or anything, you'd just see that like oh, like I'm just gonna leave him alone right now.
I think you think that your mood is not as transparent as it is for the rest of us. I think we all can see your cattail.
I already have that.
I think everybody can see it. But you know what? I like the idea of
That's
it actually becoming a physical thing that then is there for everybody.
Yeah. It's just easier, for people who don't know the signals.
Yeah, I love that. Good check-in, everybody. Boy,
good check-in.
We're already at 12 minutes in on this episode, but that's okay. It's always a lot of fun. We're going to now move on to the development demo. Mr. Henry, take it away.
Oh yeah, sure. So we basically did kind of two things, and one on the implementation side. And one of them has kind of like two modes. So one thing that we did was we brought the Cosmic Console back in. It's very stripped down and it doesn't have the new styling that we're going to apply to it, but it is back in the product now. So that's exciting. And then the other thing that we did was we added what we call the here and now chart, which is thus the name of the cycle.
And this is what the viewer is seeing right now.
Yeah. So what you're looking at right now is you're looking at the what we call the guest version. So this is somebody who is not signed into the product, who goes to who doesn't come in through a link to another specific chart or something like that, and just maybe lands on the homepage and clicks on the like show me the chart for now or something like this. Most astrology products have something along these lines, and the reason this looks like a very stripped down chart right now is because because there's a bunch of information that we wouldn't necessarily know or we wouldn't want to necessarily infer. For example, your location, and the discussion about location being privileged information in internet applications is a whole separate topic, which we won't go into. But let's just say that we would neither want to have that if you didn't give it to us, nor would we try to rely upon it if it wasn't explicitly asked.
We wouldn't guess it. And we
wouldn't guess
won't. Yeah, we won't assume it, and we won't ask for it because.
Yeah, and if you go to like do we talk about other like sites?
Yeah, talk about other sites.
Yeah. So like if you go to astro.com, which I think everybody is familiar with, right? And you're not signed in, and you click on the little link to see like where things are at right now, you'll get a chart of the moment. And that chart of the moment will look very similar to this, except for it will actually have it'll have a little aspectarian, and it might have aspects drawn and stuff like that. We don't have that in the product yet, but you'll notice, or maybe you have noticed, that the moon was in a different position when I started speaking.
Actually, I'm on astro.com right now, and I'm trying to find where the here and now chart is.
It's in the upper right hand corner.
Oh, this thing?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
And then there's like a little link.
Horoscope des Moments in German. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And there it is. Okay. Yeah. All right. Back to your face.
Yeah. So this is updating very slowly because because we're not showing the fastest moving thing that we're showing here is the moon, and
this updates every 10 seconds, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this is basically like 10-second accuracy, because that's by far the most accurate that you would ever need for if you like this, for something like where the moon is, the fastest object that's being shown. However, now I'm gonna blend all the demos together. It's gonna be amazing.
Blend it.
Cosmic Console. Woo! There it is again.
You
all remember it.
You remember it.
You'll notice it only has one item right now. That's intentional.
We talked about it over there. I think it was episode 3 that we last talked about the Cosmic Console up there.
Yeah.
There you go.
And all of the regular stuff still works. But anyway, I'm going to go to log in. Ignore this screen.
Yikes. What an ugly, stupid login screen. What's your password?
It's just pre-generated.
I know what it is. I actually know what it is. It's in the database.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So once I am signed in, then you'll see that I have my little indicator that I've signed in. That's also going to change.
That's the upper right-hand corner. You can see the indicator.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so now you can actually see that we have we're drawing all of the angles. And we're putting all of the parts in, and all of this is based upon the perspective. So I think I'm looking. I think the last thing I was looking at was Reggio Montana's houses. But yeah, but if you change anything about the perspective, then this view would be impacted by the perspective. Obviously, whatever the default perspective is that you use for these here and now views, once you're a member, and you can see, if you're sort of watching, the angles are kind of like updating. And this is at second accuracy, because once we have the location and we're able to actually like plot the horizon and plot the houses, then these updates can be much more real time. And also, there is a cost to serve associated with the rendering of this information. So, for if you're just a guest, and you're coming into the site for the first time, we're not going to spend as much resources showing you like a real time chart um, uh, than we would for somebody who's given us who's signed up with us.
Although I
Uh,
haven't actually, and I think we may have talked about this before, but I don't remember the answer to this. Is there a reason why we are not using the WebAssembly and in as above to do the rendering on the client side? Like, why are we doing callbacks? And we talked about what that all is in that episode up there. Why do we actually do a callback to the server?
Because it's just easier for these, because it's 1 second is still very slow for computers. And when you're talking about network latency, a network latency of something like 200 to 300 milliseconds in this particular case, where there's not the times that you really feel something being sluggish is when, because of something like network latency, is when you perform an action, and then the result of the initiation of that action takes longer than you would want it to, or longer than you would expect. And there's a ton of study in like human computer interaction stuff around like what real time feels like to people and things like this, and like what
I see.
how much latency between the action that you take. But because this is just updating on its own over time, and this is kind of like a view that you might bring up if you were just like wanted to stay on top of this, or you were like waiting for something to start. I know, like Chris Brennan, for example, will often bring up, or at least he says he does, brings up a sort of real-time updating chart to like, okay, we're going to start the episode at, they elect for, maybe the start of the episode, and like you can get a kind of
Not
clock
only do we
view,
not
basically.
elect for the start of our episodes,
We probably start.
we don't even
Yeah,
clean up for it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but anyway, so that's the answer, is just because it's easier. It's very tricky to pass a lot of like there's a lot of work around getting the perspective, like understanding of the perspective in as above, like dealing with a lot of the like updating things in as above. It's not super rocket science, but if it turns out that we end up with enough traffic being caused by this, then we can look at moving it into as above. It's certainly, it's completely possible. It's
Yeah.
totally doable. But it's just the implementation is so much easier
But
to do it this way right
I
now.
think the thing that as above. Now I'm going to answer my own question because I remember now a little bit, but since we've been talking about this, where the power of as above is going to come in is when you are making quick movements, especially when you're trying to like elect for something. And so through an election flow, as above is going to be much better than anything that's on the market today, bar none.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And this is something that kind of like already exists in other software. So, but yeah, not just the like fluid moving. So for like electional stuff, but also for doing things like being able to plot a real time graph of the speed of a planet, or being able to show an ephemeris, like an ephemeris view very, very quickly. Like being able to just pop that ephemeris up, like we can definitely render that on the server side and then pass it to the client, but that's like, there's no reason to do that. Whereas, when we have this like, oh, just like quickly view an ephemeris, which is based on the time of the chart that you're looking at, like that, we will absolutely do an as above, because it'll just like populate directly from the client incredibly quickly. Yeah, so like graphs, real-time movement, charting of ephemerae, that kind of stuff will all be the ASPA. But I just figured for the here and now chart,
Yeah.
because the fastest we're talking about is 1 second, which is basically like forever in latency terms. That's like 1,000 milliseconds.
Yeah.
Is it's fine.
It's great, in fact. It's better
Yeah,
than fine. Yeah.
yeah. I love looking at this view now that we have it, because it's
Oh,
just like
we're not looking at
it's
it right
like,
now.
oh, sorry,
There we
but
go.
it's just like little, like, just kind of like fuzzing out and like watching the things like update. It's like watching popcorn. It's just like poop, poop, poop. This little update. This little update. This little update.
Yeah, you look at the angles on the edges.
Yeah.
That's where you're seeing the little popcorn.
Popcorn. Yeah,
Annotations.
I'm also like doing the like I said, this is a quadro based house system. If I switched over to the whole sign house system, then you would just see the angles, and it would only be the ascendant, midheaven, and IC. All those, the angles.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
for the demo. Appreciate
Fun
that
times.
very much. Moving on to our last, or I guess our penultimate point, which is a point of philosophy. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this because I'm doing a talk next week around customer experience for a local Berlin startup that is not HelloFresh, but they're very interested in my HelloFresh experience. And we were talking a little bit around trust and the aspects that I'm going to be bringing into the customer experience talk is around where trust comes from, how you can best leverage trust, and what does it mean to build trustful experiences. Sounds very philosophical. That's fine. That's why people, I mean, I'm not being paid for it, but that's why people pay me for these kinds of things. The first thing, though, I wanted to talk a little bit about is kind of a broad study of where trust comes from in society today. So this is a page from the 2024 Edelman Trust Barometer, and it's there to talk year over year. Let me, if I can go to a different page here. This is a survey that's been done for many years over 28 countries to just figure out where there are trustful experiences, where there's a trust imbalance, and what the trends are of those things. There's a trend view on here. I'm not going to be able to find it, unfortunately. But I really want to talk about this slide, which is called Dispersion of Authority, Peers on Par with Scientists. And what has happened over a longer period of time is that the trust of peers has gone up, while the trust of authority figures in technology, in business, in not-for-profit, and in news and media has gone down. And now scientists and someone like me are the most trusted authorities for basically, information, vaccines, AI, climate change, anything that's around GMO, like genetically modified food. You will trust scientists and you will trust people like me kind of equally. And that's scary and crazy and weird.
When you say people like me, are you saying people like you, Jake Zukowski, or people like yourself?
I am going purely off of what it says here. So peers on par with scientists. I trust each. Oh, you can't see the screen. That's why you can't see what I'm reading right now. Sorry. I
wasn't going to spill the beans.
I trust each to tell me the truth about new innovations and technologies. Scientists, 74%. Someone like me, 74%.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why. Sorry. We've been having a little bit of technical issues. Trey can't see what I'm broadcasting right now,
Yeah.
which he usually can. I have to restart my machine, but I can't restart my machine right now for reasons I can't explain. Doesn't matter. Anyways, going into all of that. So actually, can I share my screen? No, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to mess something up. So if you think about this idea that like people like me is one of the highest trusted things in society right now, what our friends in business have done is they have then said, okay, I'm going to basically make all of my current customers marketeers for my product towards other people. And this has been around for a long time, but it just feels like it's been amping up more and more and more. And this is where loyalty programs come in, or refer a friend programs come in, things like that. And if you remember, back in episode 19, you can look up there for episode 19, we had this slide in here, which Trey will remember because we've talked a lot about this slide. Values are on the left-hand side. Values drive loyalty, and manipulations on the right-hand side drive transactions. Manipulations aren't bad. The point here is that manipulations are bad if they're you don't lead with manipulations. You lead with values, and you support with these transactional manipulations. And one of those things on there is really around, like, how can we use identity or peer groups to get more folks to Cosmic? How can we provide discounts or rebates to kind of juice the growth? And that's really what these loyalty programs are about. The whole point here, though, this philosophical point that I'm doing a very poor job of articulating, is that we now see, given that this, like, someone like me, archetype, is now one of the top authority figures for basically giving me things that answer questions on in a trustful way. Now businesses are manipulating that into turning people into marketers by kind of juicing with discounts. And this has led us to a phenomenon, at least in our lives, where we've got some friends that we can trust their opinions, and we have some friends that we know that if they give us an opinion, they're actually just doing it for a discount. And one of the jokes,
it's really true. It's
really true. One of the jokes that I had said to one of my friends, and I'm very open about this with them. One of the jokes I said to one of the friends is, like, they get Botox, and they go to a clinic here in Berlin. And if they refer a friend to the clinic with them, they will get a discount on their Botox. And so they go out of their way to tell everyone how tired they look, how ugly they look, and how they need Botox. Thumbs up.
Which is somewhat brilliant, honestly.
Which is somewhat brilliant. And the thing is that when this friend did this to me, and I will say not for me, but to me, I then, my trust of them for giving me any recommendations deteriorated to almost zero. And so now whenever they give me a recommendation on something, I ask them, what do you get in return? Yeah. And now also because of that, I proactively tell people, I'm going to give you a recommendation, and either I'm getting nothing in return for this recommendation, or if you use this link or whatever, I'll get something in return. So now I'm very proactive to explain to people, when I give them a recommendation, what is the kickback that I get now? And I wonder if this phenomenon actually is becoming more and more common in daily life. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it definitely is. I have two thoughts on this, because one, I think it has this inverse. It's like the reason that people don't trust you, companies, like large corporations, is because you have violated trust consistently over time. And so now it's like you're pushing the violation of trust down to the leaf node. Yeah. And so now it's like, well, now we can't trust our friends because they're just out for the discount. Right. It's like it's the same trust problem. It just got pushed to a different place. Yeah. So that's thought number one. But I also noticed that, like, on a lot of YouTube channels and things like that, of stuff that I watch, that usually ads will be very clearly called out. Like, we're going into the ad now, and this is the sponsor for, my episode or whatever. But if there is something where it's like a discount code or something along those lines, or somebody is just really interested actually in a product, but they don't have any affiliation with the makers of that product, a lot of times they'll say, like, I'm not getting anything for this. Like, I'm not getting any kickbacks for this at all. Like, go to the site, check it out. Like, it's a really cool product. And I've done that before in videos as well.
We've done that many times.
Many times. Like, talking about Obsidian, for example. Like, we love Obsidian. We use Obsidian.
Right. We've talked about Obsidian. We've talked about OUX. We don't get anything from those books. Elixir. We've talked about books that we wanted to read. We've talked about courses that we've been taking. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And so far nobody has sponsored us, but I suppose if we did have a sponsor, we would. I think if we ever did anything, it would probably be like what the Butterscotch Shenanigans brothers do, which is they have like a buy me a coffee kind of thing. It's like people can just like help to pay for the show because a lot of people really enjoy
Butterscotch
it.
Shenanigans, for the viewer, is a game company that's out of St. Louis that has a very well regarded kind of game podcast, like a game development kind of inside the behind the scenes type of. It's very much like this podcast, except they do things and we haven't actually shipped software yet.
And yeah. But they're also like I think they're on like episode 700 and something, and
yeah, it's crazy.
and yeah, they're coming out with a new rework of an older title. And anyway, it's just a really good show. We'll link to it in the show notes because I think it's fun to listen to, even if you're not in the like not into software engineering or making games or anything like that. It's still really fun to listen to, and they talk about a lot of the same kinds of things that we talk about, like how do you deal with all the other meta stuff of the thing that you're doing. But anyway, but I think on this topic of friends, like the questioning of friends' recommendations now, because of the fact that it's like, well, what discount are you getting? Like, is this actually a good thing, or are you just you just want the discount?
I think part of it also is like, because everybody, it's like, that thing of like, everyone wants to be on TV. I think everyone wants to be an influencer. And so everyone starts acting like an influencer, and influencers are now kind of doing this. I don't know, the whole thing. I would not be surprised if in the years following that the 2025-2026 Edelman Trust Barometer, when it comes to someone like me, might start decreasing, because businesses have now over optimized on this kind of peer trust groups thing, and ended up causing more problems.
Yeah,
that's what business does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
business over optimizes.
I think that's highly likely. Lovely.
Well, that was a lovely week. You know what you should do? You should put your laundry away. That's what you should do this week, dear viewer. And I think that I'm going to do that right after we're done with this episode.
You know what else I noticed?
Okay, what is it? Your beer bottle?
My beer bottle.
This is a thing, by the way. Dear viewer, I have to go to solo for this one. Do you see this, by the way? This crap here? I have been trying my hardest to try to keep this house tidy. I really have. And I don't know what is going on anymore with my partner, because this crap here, ridiculous. Anyways.
Ridiculous.
Two things I want you to do. Go do your laundry and go berate your partner about what they're not doing this week. We hope that you have a lovely week. Have a beautiful Saturday or whatever day you are watching this episode. And we love you very much. And we're going to see you again next week. Be well, everyone. Bye.
Bye.